Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett. Who wrote this? Spring is sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where the boidies is. They say the boyd is on the wing, but that's absurd. The wing is on the boyd. No one knows who wrote that, but that's what we're talking about next on Our Time. I definitely feel I'm being upstaged here, but it's another big welcome to the only lady who's ever upstaged us here on Our Time, and that's Kristen Messenger and
Nemo.
Nemo.
Yeah.
It's a fish out of water. Is Nemo a fish out of water?
Nemo is a rainbow lorikeet,
And she's a girl.
She is a girl, but we didn't know that when she was named because she was only little.
Yes.
So yeah, and she can't fly, so don't panic. She's not going
I'm
to fly
not
around
panicking.
the studio.
I think they're the most beautiful bird. Thanks for dropping
They
that.
poo a lot.
Lovely that you dropped in, lovey.
We've got 5 of them, but Nemo is the only one that doesn't fly, and she was born with a wing defect. So she's got one perfect wing and one little wing, just like Nemo in the movie, the fish.
Right, hence the name.
Yeah,
But they are actually exquisitely beautiful, and the colour is so strong, isn't it?
yeah, they're really.
Eventually she'll turn around to the camera, I'm sure. I love the fact you were just giving her some water. Can you do that again? That's very cute if she'll do it again.
She will, because they're obsessed with water.
One way round. Can I do it the other way round?
Well, you can turn her around. That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, if you can do that, that'd be fantastic.
There, like that.
That's it. Not quite, but near enough.
Keep going.
Yep. Talk about having a baby. Now, I've got to remind everybody that your company is called Bugs and Slugs.
That's right, yeah.
And you have some educational opportunities with kids, which is called...
Oh, we do. We visit schools and kindies.
Yep.
I've just come back from a week in the arid lands where I toured Port Augusta, Whyalla, Corn. Yeah, so we're pretty busy. And people probably think, well, what's a parrot got to do with bugs and slugs? Were you wondering that?
No, because I know what they eat.
Oh, well, she doesn't eat bugs.
Doesn't she?
No, she doesn't. She drinks nectar. So that's what she's trying to get to. And, of course, it's spring, so she's quite broody.
Right.
And that's probably why she's trying to make her way to me, because she wants a bit of love.
Yeah.
But she...
Isn't she beautiful, though?
She's lovely.
Just in the close-ups there, you can see some of the colour, but I wish you'd turn around, lovey. Just turn around, because you've got the most amazing spread of colour down her chest.
Oh, that way, there you go.
Yeah, look
How's
at that. Such beautiful colour.
She's a good girl.
She's a beautiful bird.
So bugs and rainbow lorikeets don't eat bugs and slugs. So can you imagine why they need them to survive?
To fertilise the plants that are growing.
Oh, well, that's true. But they themselves are pollinators. So
oh, they are. Yes.
So rainbow lorikeets are nectar feeders, and they help pollinate.
So answer that question
eucalypts.
you posed.
Well, Nemo is one of a whole heap of Australian native birds and animals and reptiles that use hollows to nest
right,
in.
of course.
And those hollows are created by successive populations of different invertebrate animals, so bugs and slugs, that move in, and they might start the hollow by creating like a really thin, bore in a young sapling.
Right.
And then over generations, sometimes hundreds and hundreds of years, new families of bugs move in, and they renovate that hollow. They go, oh, this bore that this moth made is great, but it's not big enough for us. We want a veranda and we want a new back room. And so they come in and they renovate the hollow, and often fungus is involved. So either because they bring the fungus in to farm it because they want to eat it, or because the hollow gets moist, and fungus is a really important accelerator of rotten wood. And so the mycelium in the fungus help to soften the wood, and then a whole host of other invertebrates move in and go, oh, well, we quite like what these beetles have done, but, you know, we think we'll make it even bigger and we'll put in a pool, or we'll build an extension and a granny flat. And so then things like termites come in and they renovate the hollow even more. And sometimes they'll leave, sometimes they'll stay, and they'll invite other guests. You know, so beetles will often come and lay eggs certainly in the rotting wood. Beetle larvae often eat mycelium. We say that they're saproxylic, those sort of beetle larvae, because they feed on the xylem tissue, the wood of trees that has been rotted by the mycelium of fungus. So it's not sort of one particular.
Who knew?
Me, I knew.
All this, Kristen, where?
It's just my life's mission, Malcolm.
I know it is, and that's what makes you so interesting. But also, I can't imagine what your house must be like, because you've got little pots of things everywhere.
You can. All those stories my mother tells about my childhood, there's some truth in them.
Coming clean, I've known Kristen's mum for a very long time.
Yeah, I have.
Barbara, and it's amazing having the upbringing through the theatre and all the other things that you've done in your life, that this has become your passion and your life.
Well, I think it always was. Like, Mum tells some stories and I think people think she's making them up. And I can't deny that some of them may have a degree of the theatre about them, Malcolm. But I did do things like, I know that ducks poo where they swim, because once I brought ducks home and I told Mum that, she said, get those ducks off my swimming pool. And I said, Barbara, don't be silly. Ducks don't poo where they swim. That doesn't make sense. But it turns out that wasn't true. They do poo where they swim. They blew up the filter and they had to get a new one.
There's some lovely stories of your childhood, I know.
Yeah, so it's always been my thing.
But getting back to, what do these eat? So they're eating the pollen. There's a bit of an orange or a mandarin there.
So yeah, that's just fruit. So people complain about them all the time because they say, oh, they destroy my fruit tree. They don't eat it, but they do. They just squeeze the juice out of it. So they juice your fruit, and then they make a real mess of like dropping all the pith and the bits that they don't want down on the ground. But their main food is nectar. Just like...
Which comes from?
From flowers. So eucalyptus flowers, any flower really.
Because it's there, and at the same time they're pollinating.
People see them eating the bottle brushes that are planted as street trees. Yeah, and they have to follow the nectar around. So they have to follow flowers around. But they nest in hollows.
Right.
And they nest in quite small hollows, but their hollows take at least 80 years of bugs starting them and renovating them and making them bigger to get big enough for one of those. So if you think about a big bird,
yes, like
a black cockatoo or something.
Oh, okay, yes.
Their hollows take hundreds of years, and of course we're
eagles
cutting down
don't
hollows.
Eagles find hollows. They don't need that. They build nests on top of things.
But they still need dead wood. Their nests are huge.
They are huge. But isn't it? I always feel sorry for them. Like, why? What a shame that evolution hasn't taught them how to build a roof.
Yeah, well,
doesn't that thought ever go through you?
Have you seen an eagle's nest up close?
Not really,
They're really big.
I know they're really big, but when it rains, it rains.
Yeah, but they're birds, and so their feathered, and their feathers
I know
are pretty
all
waterproof.
But the human in me thinks, what a shame we can't build a little roof over. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now, Nemo's got a roof. Nemo, the hollows have got roofs. So
I'm going to hold this very carefully because, as you said, spring is sprung, and all little creatures are starting to come out of their eggs.
They are. So it's a really big time of the year. So in the insect world, Sorry, Kristen, you'll just be able to see by my thumbnail there, you'll be able to see two, is it two? Yes, one's eating a hole in the leaf. I think there's three. There's one under the leaf as well.
Oh, okay, how dare they? There is actually.
But they are little monarch caterpillars.
I don't know if I can show you. There it is.
And they've just hatched. So they're only a few days old.
What an amazing life cycle, though, when you think about it, something so small, eats, and then completely changes into something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that unusual. I know we're really familiar with the butterfly life cycle because Eric Carle, rest his lovely soul, wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Yes.
So we're very familiar with that life cycle. But actually, loads of things have that life cycle. So beetles, for example, have exactly the same life cycle where they hatch out of an egg, the egg hatches into a larva, which is the equivalent of a caterpillar. The caterpillar builds a cocoon, we call it a pupal cell, and they don't spin a web or form a chrysalis. The pupa usually makes a cell out of poo and
Nice.
soil.
Nice.
And then the beetle pupates and comes out.
She's upstaging because she knows that we have to stop for a break.
Okay.
Which we'll do. Is that okay with you? Yes, okay. And we'll be back in a tick. Welcome back. Our special guest on this program is Kristen Messenger and Nemo. We're talking about, well, bugs and slugs, which is a very appropriate name, but we're talking, what are caterpillars, slugs or bugs or neither?
Well, they're invertebrates, so they're living things, so they're animals, that don't have any bones.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What would we look at next? The eggs?
Yeah, you can have a look at these eggs. So they're silkworm eggs, and they've been doing what a lot of bugs and slugs do, which is overwintering. So I've had them in the fridge and making sure that they get nice and cold.
Because they need to get cold.
They need to get cold. They go into a stage called diapause, and that's induced by being particularly cold, and then they come out of it by warming up.
So these, of course, are those little sort of dark grey dots?
Yep.
What are they on? Are they leaves or
No, they're
cardboard?
just on cardboard. The silkworms just lay on.
What a way to start life.
They will lay on leaves, but cardboard keeps better in the fridge. So.
Right, that's understandable.
And this is them. They've just started hatching.
The next stage.
Yep.
Okay.
There's
Now
quite
I
a lot
can
on
see
there,
them.
so-
There are quite a lot, fortunately. I'll try and hold this very still for you because they're still very small.
Yeah, but they've eaten those leaves today.
They've done well. They've virtually stripped them bare. I thought the leaves were dead, but in fact they're not. So there they are.
And there's
all
one
the little
about
ones
to
there.
fall on a web. Just hold your hand under it like that. Back.
Okay. Right there, I can see that, yeah. Sorry, so that's the next stage in their life, and then, of course, eventually they'll grow quite large.
Really big, yeah.
And then
like
go into they'll make
they make a silk cocoon.
Yeah. And I was very interested last time we talked about these, that when they're harvesting the silk, you don't necessarily have to boil the poor worm inside, which used
No,
to be
I
the
don't.
practice.
I harvest my silk
Yeah,
and I card it and process it myself, but I don't kill the worms.
This is interesting because we all have cockroaches and we don't really realise we've all got cockroaches, often hiding in places that you least expect, like your rubbish bin.
I'll hand you this one because I think that one's not going to hatch. So that one, these are pretty special cockroaches though. They're not just random cockroaches. These are striped desert cockroaches, and those egg sacs have been waiting to hatch for quite a while, and that's what we call a cockroach ootheca. And an ootheca is like a cockroach egg sac that's laid.
Well, I had no idea that's how these happened either.
Oh, there you go. And 30 cockroaches will hatch out of that. Just pop it back in there when you've had a look. And here's a different ootheca.
But what's this? This is like some wood.
I've just got some sand and peat in there just to...
Right, to make them feel at home.
Yeah, because the female cockroaches, not all of them, but the hard to breed ones usually bury their oothecas. So that's a native cockroach.
Right.
Not the kind that live in your kitchen.
Right, well, we'll put that one to bed.
And this is a different ootheca. So do you recognise that one?
No.
I get lots of people emailing me about these. That's a praying mantis egg sac.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you see one of those...
When you say egg sac, there are more than one
Yeah, there could be hundreds in there.
Right.
Yep. So praying mantises, often they will lay those on screen doors and screen windows.
So do they make the egg sac first and then lay the eggs inside, or
Oh, kind of.
sort of all come at the same time?
Yeah, they produce this, as they lay their eggs, they produce this foam. It's like spray foam, and then it kind of goes hard. So it's pretty amazing. And then there's a little praying mantis here, which I've just fed her, so she's holding on to a cricket. I'll see if I can get her out.
You say, I just fed her. How do you know it's a her?
Oh, well, I don't actually. I didn't actually look, but I can look because I've marked the enclosure. There you go.
Oh,
if you just
my goodness.
Hold her on that leaf.
Yep.
Now, she's not a local praying mantis. I must admit I've cheated because the local ones are not.
We know she's alive because she's moving about.
Yeah, and the local ones are not as big as the as she is. She's a giant rainforest mantid, and sorry, that one is a male, even though I'm calling it a she.
Okay, well, okay, because if it was a girl, she might eat me?
No,
if she fell in love with me, would she eat me?
No.
No?
They're not obligated to eat their mate. It's just sometimes better if they do, but they don't have to do it.
No.
They're not like redback spiders. They have to eat their mate.
Right.
Or so the male can't fertilise the female unless he's eaten. But with the praying mantises, the male can fertilise the female. She just eats him if, well, it's hard to say if he doesn't take her fancy or if he does take her fancy. I'm not sure which way it works.
Who's a hungry girl,
Yeah.
I'd say. Excellent. I know you came in at very short notice for this program.
Yeah.
But they are just wonderful species. So oh, my chair sounds like it's about to spring as well. It's spring, and in spring, what are we really looking for to protect in our gardens and around our houses that we know are going to work for us without realising it?
Oh, that's a great question, Malcolm.
I only ask great ones.
The things I've brought in are all things that are working for you. So caterpillars, they're nature's pruning machines. They're not just
But
eating
what if
your
it's my
plants and
favourite
killing them?
ornamental bonsai that they're pruning and I don't want that to happen?
Then just move them off of it. Or get a lot of praying mantises, because praying mantises love little baby caterpillars and things like that.
But praying mantises, do they eat leaves?
No, praying mantises eat other bugs, so they're
Right.
really good
And that's
pest
actually
control.
the point I was heading towards. Yep. It's finding the predator, if you like, for the pests that you don't want.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to be patient. So, like, you won't get praying mantises in your garden if you're spraying lots of pesticide.
No, of course
they
not.
won't come because there won't be anything for them to eat. And it's
No,
the
I
same
agree with you there. It was a good answer.
It's the same with ladybugs, for example. People are always like, "Oh, do you sell ladybugs?" And I'm like, no, because you just need to leave the aphids for a couple of weeks, and the ladybugs will find them.
Right, because they're hungry.
Yeah, and because
they're everywhere.
Aphids, I discovered this the other night. I was running around my yard with a UV torch, as you do, and I discovered that
Of course you do.
the honeydew that the aphids produce is actually UV reflective, and because bugs see UV light, so it glows like someone's gone splash with a splash of glow in the dark paint, and because bugs see UV, I'm pretty sure that's how the ladybugs might actually work out where the aphids are.
Because the ladybugs can fly.
Yeah, and they can see UV. So even in the daytime, they'll see that UV reflected.
Right.
Yeah.
So what else should we be looking for? Because I know that just on the York Peninsula recently, there have been animals reintroduced that dig up the soil and keep the soil moving about.
Yeah, I think they've reintroduced bettongs over there, which we were just talking about that the other day. So they have. But what you need is lots of dead stuff, lots of dead wood, and lots of like mulch, like leaf litter.
Yep.
Don't freak out about it. There's a whole heap of things that will recycle that leaf litter into the soil, like cockroaches.
My gardens,
they're really good at that.
Yeah, I get all the leaf litter and put it back. Chop it up in the mulch usually.
Yeah, so you want like...
Is that a good thing?
Absolutely, yeah. You want integrated pest management. So
I should ask you, so all my garden scraps and everything that would rot down, I
Yes.
put in a whatever you call it thing.
Compost bin.
That's the word
Yeah.
I was trying to think of. But there's a lot of bugs in there as well as worms.
Yeah.
There's quite a few cockroaches in there. Is that a healthy thing?
Yeah, because the cockroaches are recycling all that dead stuff. So, and it depends a little bit on what sort of cockroaches they are, but
Big ones.
they're all really good recyclers.
Right. These are big ones.
You know, that's what they're doing in there.
I was wondering if I should be carefully farming them and turning them into food.
Well, things eat them. I mean, our magpie, we've got a magpie at home, and she loves
Yes, now listen,
bugs.
you must bring the magpie on the show. And before we lose this time with you, we're coming into the season that magpies are nesting. Is that when they start swooping?
Yep,
But
they're
hang on,
swooping now.
don't answer that. We'll be back in a tick to find out what to do with magpies. See you soon. Our special guest is Nemo on this program, and Nemo's mum, Kristen Messenger. And Nemo's actually been longing to get there ever since we started this segment. Talk about magpies. Magpies swoop and frighten everybody.
Well, not really. We teach them to do that. So
How do we do that?
Well, because people chase them and are horrible to them. But if you just turn and face a magpie, I do this at my park, I promise it works. So it helps if you're wearing glasses and a hat, but you turn and you face the magpie and you talk to it and you say, "Hello, beautiful magpie. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not going to upset your nest." And I always say things like, "Don't you look lovely today? You're very attractive." And I talk to them, and I know who the boys are. The boys have a very white back, and the females have a very grey back.
Right.
So do the juveniles, but they have a much dirtier beak. So you talk to them and you show them. You say, I'm not going to hurt you. I won't chase you, and keep facing them. Don't turn your back to them. And sometimes it helps to take a treat. So if you take a couple of mealworms or even a bit of
Because we'd always have mealworms around the house.
some of us do.
Yes, some of us.
Or take a little bit of cat food or dog food in your pocket, or even peas. Our magpie loves peas.
So for people who are terrified of them and they're holding a bit of cat food in their hand like this...
Yeah, no, you throw it down on the ground and you say, "Here you go, this is for you." And magpies recognise and remember faces.
Do they really?
They really do. So you will always be that lovely person who fed them some peas.
So they won't swoop you.
So, yeah, so whatever you do, don't let your kids chase them or scream and yell and wave your hands around, because that just scares them. And then they go, "Oh, there's Malcolm. He's that horrible man that screams and yells and chases us."
I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that.
They're very vindictive. Once I went away for 3 weeks, and our magpie didn't speak to me for like 6 months afterwards. I mean, really.
Really didn't come near you?
Really didn't come near me. And she's still not, that was last year, and she's still a bit, whatever, you went and left me.
Every time you've been on the program, it's always fascinating and the stories are most unusual, but eye-opening at the same time, because frankly, I never knew about that, and so many people are spooked by magpies doing that. If you have one at home, I know, if she or he, the one at home?
She.
So if she becomes studio friendly,
Yep.
please bring her in. Let me know and please bring her in.
We need to harness train her, and that's proving to be quite the challenge. But
Harness train, there's another one. Kristen, as always, it's been fantastic.
thank you, Malcolm.
And please remember, everybody, look after the animals around you, because they make our life so much richer. Oh, quick, look at that, look at that, look at that. Do it again. She won't do it again.
You want a kiss? No.
Oh, well,
She's
time
all
to
shy
go.
now.
Keep kissing. We'll see you soon. Next time on Our Time. Keep yourself nice till then. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.